Last week I made a list of my favourite watches from the magnificent watch year of 2022 under $3,000. This time I'm going for the segment between $3,000 and $10,000. Let's jump right in. Alright, I'm Cohen and today I'm going to pull you through my list of highly desired watches of 2022. This time in a higher price range sorted by price. First off, the Longines Spirit Zulu Time. Coming in at just above $3,300 on the stainless steel bracelet, the Longines Spirit Zulu Time can be found in a black version, a blue version, and a gilt anthracite green version, all housing a COSC certified movement with a 72-hour power reserve. They also include a bidirectional ceramic bezel, applied indices and 100 meters water resistance. Top modern quality and rich heritage to a price within reach compared to other brands which share the same attributes. By specs, this is quite the big watch, but at the same time it is a style of watch where I appreciate the robust message it transmits. As mentioned in my previous list style video, Longines had a great 2022, downsizing both the Spirit and the Hydro Conquest to under 40mm. But the Zulu Time might be their best release of the year. Also, the GMT function is my favourite complication beside the date window. Spending time with it, I've concluded that I prefer it on the original calf leather strap. Worth mentioning is that Longines also included a quick release system which makes strap swapping a pure joy. Next up is a watch from one of my favourite brands, Oris. The Oris Divers 65 Caliber 400. A brilliant release by Oris and a watch I almost pulled the trigger on until Tudor just a few weeks later, like lightning from a clear sky, released their new Pelagos. Unlucky timing, Oris. The watch comes in at $3,500 packed in a 40mm stainless steel case boasting an incredible 120-hour power reserve. With their in-house Oris Bear movement, the Caliber 400, a movement which is beautiful to look at through the display case back. Long story short, I love that they modernised it by removing faux patina and golden tones as well as adding a 12-hour bezel to keep track of 2 time zones. What the Divers 65 lacks. Being a dual time watch, it's hard to criticise this exact model, but a Divers watch should, in my opinion, be able to withstand more than 100 meters of water, so it fails to meet certain criteria as to what accomplishes a proper functional dive watch in my book. Good things come in threes. The third watch on my list might as well be my favourite release this year. I was lucky enough to get my hands on one of the first 8 my local AD received, so I've owned it for a few months and I'm preparing a review as we speak. So please help a fellow watch fan member out by subscribing, liking or commenting, it would be very much appreciated. I'll save the juicy stuff and wearing experience for the review, but this watch is 10 out of 10. A small leap in price from the first two, the Pelagos 39 comes in at $4,300 on an all-brushed titanium case and bracelet. They also include a brilliant rubber strap for those adventures you plan on doing. It houses Tudor's in-house MT5400 movement with a 70-hour power reserve. Personally, I love that they added a bit of X-factor by adding a sunray finish on both the dial and bezel. The bezel is made in ceramic, giving the watch a more modern take, and by giving it a sunray finish, they also avoided the glossy look used on certain other divers which we all know leave smudges during everyday activity. The sunray dial looks more like a deep black but catches and plays with the light occasionally. Personally, I prefer a date window on my watches, but as quite a few in my collection include one, I didn't feel the need on this one. The bracelet is almost the best bracelet in Tudor's collection, second to only the new Tudor Ranger which has the whole package. The Pelagos 39 has a couple of imperfections, the 21mm lug spacing and the clasp, which despite having a T-fit function is quite large. Number 4. For quite a while, I've been a big fan of IWC. There are few things that interest us humans more than the Second World War, and I'm no exception. It is considered to be 5 original Flieger watch brands which still to this day base their designs on the German World War II design: Laco, Stover, Wempe, Longa and IWC. Before we move on, check out Laco if you're looking for something budget-friendly with a rich heritage. I'm on the list for a new Rolex and I'm looking forward to showing it to you. Before I put my name on the list, I considered getting an IWC Pilot's watch 36mm, and I actually might have if they were at a lower price point. New this year is the Mark 20, which has made substantial upgrades to it. Coming in at $7,500 packed in a 40mm case, it houses a brilliant 120-hour power reserve in their in-house caliber 32111. The case being only 10.8mm thick, they have still managed to improve their water resistance from 60 to 100 meters. Talking about this watch makes me want to add it to my most wanted list, but in green, blue or black. By the way, they also included a quick release system. This should be an industry standard. Number 5 was a hard one after deciding I only wanted to make a list out of 6. I actually planned 5, but I couldn't help myself. Please comment down below what your preferred watches were within today's price segment. I was close to adding Grand Seiko in this spot, but found it hard because most Grand Seiko watches don't seem to fit my wrist. I think it's the case style and long end links. I generally feel that their bracelets leave a little something to be desired. Given the high quality of the finishing both on the case and dial, it's kind of disappointing. With that in mind, my favourite Grand Seiko release of 2022 has to be the SBG W291G and SBG W293G. But I went for something else for the list. The new Rolex Air-King. Coming in at $7,900, it is, alongside the Explorer 1, the most budget-friendly Rolex within their professional line of watches. It was an expected upgrade, in the same way we expect some Milgauss news this coming year. Upgrade or discontinuation? What do you think? The Air-King has, in my opinion, an underappreciated heritage and falls in the shadow of other Rolex models which share the same historic qualities. This has always been a model which splits the community, but I like the fact that Rolex has an ugly duckling. Personally, I love the upgrades. The flat Rolex case have been my favourite watch case ever since the 5-digit models of the 90s and early 2000s sparkled in the watch windows. By adding that design element to a watch without a functional bezel, it's a move I've been wanting to experience. Last one on the list. Neither Cartier or Zenith, which were both close. The last watch on my list is one of my favourite brands, at least for the time being, Omega. The 60 years of Bond watch hit me straight in the heart, paying a nod to the watches which scream 90s and GoldenEye. It couldn't be avoided. Omega does some weird stuff. They can't get away with that. But they're aiming for a broad audience, and you've got to give them credit for doing so. Sometimes they swing and they miss, but this was a home run. I love the work they put into using the silhouette of Bond in the displayed case back, and let's be honest, we'd rather have the Bond tribute on the back instead of on the dial. I'm undecided on the mesh bracelet. It looks good, but the clasp build's quite large, making it hard to slide under a tight sleeve or cuff. Personally, the watch is too big for my 16.5cm wrists with its 42mm diameter and 14.3mm thickness, so I think I'll stick to my original GoldenEye quartz model for now. But if you have the wrist and wallet for it, go for it. Thanks for watching to the end. Please like, comment and subscribe. See you in the next one, Watch Fam.